There's a room in my house that no one talks about. Not my parents, not my siblings, not even the real estate agent when we moved in. It's upstairs at the end of the hallway, just another unassuming door. But something about it always felt off. The first time I tried to open it, the knob wouldn't budge. It wasn't locked. It was as though the door was fused shut. I asked my dad about it, and he simply said, "Leave it alone, bud. It's storage." But why would anyone need a storage room you couldn't open? I'm the kind of person who can't let things go, and that door bugged me. So one night, when everyone was asleep, I decided to investigate. Armed with a flashlight and a butter knife, I crept upstairs, determined to pry the door open. The knob was freezing to the touch. Not just cold, freezing. I nearly dropped the knife, but I wedged it into the crack and twisted until something inside gave with a soft click. The door swung open. First, I thought the room was empty. It was pitch black, with no light switch or windows, just a faint smell of dust and something metallic. But as I stepped inside and swung the flashlight beam across the walls, I saw something that made my stomach drop. The walls were covered in televisions. Old box TVs, their screens cracked and speckled with static. Some were stacked haphazardly, others mounted, their cords snaking together into a single outlet in the far corner. But the weirdest part? Every single TV was turned on, displaying that grainy black and white static. The static wasn't normal. It moved in strange patterns, almost rhythmic, like it was breathing. Then the sound started. At first, it was a low hum, like the distant buzz of a transformer. But as I moved further into the room, it grew louder, shifting into whispers. I couldn't make out the words, but they were layered, dozens of voices speaking over one another. I tried to back out, but the door slammed shut behind me. Panicked, I turned to pull it open, but it wouldn't budge. That's when I noticed the TVs. The static had shifted, forming shapes, human shapes. They were watching me. The whispers turned to screams. My flashlight flickered and died, plunging the room into near-total darkness except for the glowing screens. The static figures moved closer, their outlines clearer now. Twisted, elongated faces, their mouths open in silent cries. "Get out!" The voice was deep, guttural, and came from everywhere at once. I didn't need to be told twice. I threw myself at the door, clawing at it until it burst open. I stumbled out, slamming it behind me, and ran back to my room. The next morning, I told my dad what happened. His face turned pale, and for a moment, I thought he might yell at me. Instead, he just shook his head and muttered, "I told you to leave it alone." We never spoke about it again. A week later, my parents announced we were moving. They didn't give a reason, and I didn't ask. But sometimes, when the house is quiet and I'm trying to sleep, I swear I can still hear static whispering, waiting.